Hello everybody and welcome to the #1 MMA betting show in the world. How are you all doing, guys? It is 2 hours before UFC 249 takes place and you answered the call, boys. We asked for 400 likes on the UFC 249 breakdown video and it got smashed within a day. So here we are, boys, back on the YouTubes to try and dig up some decent value props for UFC 249. So I'm just going to check everything is working pretty good here. It is. Everything is good. We are good. We are good, boys. Just making sure we're all good. All right. Say hello if you're on Twitch. Say hello if you're on YouTube, boys. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And if you can, we will get into these live bets. Not the live bets, sorry, the prop bets. We've got live betting on the brain. We'll get into these prop bets very, very quickly. Hey, what's up, Hilt? What is up, William, mate? How you doing, Rocco? So, hello, everybody. We are good to go. All right, finally. It has been a busy day, boys. Sorry I'm a bit late. I am a busy bunny on fight days. Lots of fires to put out. But here we are. We are back. Prop bet live stream for UFC 249. It's almost time, boys. We are back to live sports. Coronavirus is on the back foot. They're down Coronavirus is down 2 rounds going into the third. It's going to need a knockout to finish. It looks unlikely. The UFC is cruising to a win. And in less than 2 hours, we are back in action after a 2-month break. And I can't wait. Hopefully everything turns out okay for Jacare, man. Hopefully he's fine, but obviously statistics very much in his favour, and he certainly looked fine. I definitely dodged a bullet on that one, though. Obviously, I had a pre-fight bet on Jacare, and it definitely wouldn't have been good to have been betting someone with an infection, because, you know, even if Jacare was feeling fine, his body probably would have been fighting off the infection, which takes time, and a fighter that's already got bad cardio probably would have struggled quite bad. So definitely dodged a bullet on Jacare, and shout out to the UFC, man, for doing good work in identifying the infection. So, boys, let's get into it. So, prop bets for this video. As ever, I've got to put out a big disclaimer on these prop bets. They are very dangerous. They are very volatile. A large percentage of prop bets will lose, right? A lot of variance comes with them. And that's because my strategy for prop bets is to go for high risk, high reward bets. Bets that are very risky, but have a very, very good payout. The logic being, MMA is so unpredictable that what you don't want to do is be betting on, you know, guys to win by decision and stuff at odds not too much better than what you can get them at money line, because you introduce a tremendous amount of risk into your bet when you try and bet really specific outcomes. So it makes a lot more sense with props to go for really outlandish high risk stuff where the payoff is going to be very, very good. So as you see, lots of disclaimers on here. We're going for high risk, high reward bets. But yeah, these bets should be viewed more for fun, not as a serious way to make long-term money. I don't know if these bets are going to be profitable long-term, but they are good for sprinkling a little bit of money on all of the fights, just to make watching them a little bit more fun. Speaking of like the performance on the prop bets, so you guys know what you're getting yourself into. Over the last year, we started tracking these back in February 2019. You can see they are about 9 units in profit over the course of the last year, which is really good, actually, because with the prop bets, we're betting pretty much every UFC fight, and obviously the more bets you place is less likely that you'll have an edge. So the fact that we've been able to make a profit, albeit a small one, after betting almost every UFC fight over the last year is really impressive. It's kind of shocked me, to be honest. I certainly didn't think we'd be able to make a profit after betting almost every UFC fight. But the research pays the bills, boys. We did, and we're in profit, which is outrageous. But as you can see, it does come with huge swings. And on any given night, you can lose every single prop. So you've got to be really careful with them. We will also be digging up 3 interesting parlays for this card. They're all going to be long shot parlays. I don't really see the point in like 2, 3, 4 leg parlays. These parlays are also using the same philosophy as the props. Going to have really high risk, high reward ratios, so that, you know, a massive percentage of the time these parlays are going to lose, the props are going to lose, but when they hit, you're getting a really good payout. So hope everyone is doing good, man. We're going to get into these props right now. If you are a member of my website and you want to access these on the site. You just literally click pre-fight betting tips. You go to enter the lab. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. This is an area of the site that I'm working on at the moment. It's not finished, so a lot of the pages are still coming soon, and they will be ready soon. But if you scroll down, there's the prop bets, and it will take you right into the prop bets for this article. And I am working on building an archive, so you can go back and watch or check out all the props from the last year. But this area of the site is still very much under construction, and I'm hoping it will be ready pretty soon. But it's coming, boys. It's coming. All in Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Anyway, let's scan through these. Let's scan through the comments, see what we got, boys. And please also don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, boys. I'm really close to 5k subscribers. It would be amazing to hit that. Also, hit the like button if you haven't already, because every time I put a video out on YouTube, a bunch of cocks just go and dislike it straight away. So we'd really appreciate if you would counteract the assholes with some positivity. Drop a like on the video, and it would really mean a lot to me, man. If you could do that right now, I would really appreciate it. Alright then, boys. Let's go through the comments. What is up, Rocco, mate? What is up, A.M. McNair? A. McNair, what's up, dude? What's up, Benoit? What's up, Joey McBride? How you doing, dude? I hope you're not working today, man. Joey McBride's always working in my live streams. I hope he's off now, man. I hope you're off work now, dude. William, what's up, dude? Hey, Hanmac. Hey, Kamikaze. Oh, it's Jesse off my website. How you doing, Jesse, mate? Hey, Chico. Hey, Sean. Hey, Blondie Adventures. Hey, Underrated. What's up, Poop? What's up, Benoit? This dab. Yes, mate. Get dabbing. That's it. Nice one, mate. Hey, Planet. Hey, Daniel. Nice one, Daniel. Thanks a lot, mate. What's up, Quincy Pignola? And Ngannou KO minus 175. I don't like that, man. Those aren't the usual props I like to roll with. We'll get we kind of already mentioned the reasons why, right? Odds are too short on a highly specific outcome. Chico, I had that fight not to go the distance. Tierney is looking for Ferguson round 4, Gaethje round 1. I like those. Tierney's got Rozenstruik round 1. Interest, see the odds on those, man. Type Benoit saying these prop bets better fucking win. No promises, man. They are risky as fuck. I've got enough disclaimers here, dude. They are risky. They're don't try this at home bets, right? Not too seriously. Who else have we got? Who else? Hey, what's up, Neil Rigger? Neil Rigger. I gotta be very careful when I pronounce that. He's saying, I'm so excited about this card. I've done no tape and bet Tony and Francis both by sub double and a whole card parlay. That is chaos, mate. That is chaos. Hopefully they come through for you though, man. Quincy Pignola's got a Spann Kattar parlay. Few people talking about Hardy being a little bit overrated. People are not liking Hardy's chance of winning. Do you know what is mental? I will say this. I'm not going to bring the video up. I've learned this lesson before. YouTube are crazy aggressive with their copyright algorithm. So normally I would just bring the weigh-in video up now to kind of show you guys what I mean. I'm not going to do that because I'm bound to get copyright flagged. But one thing that is really surprising, when you look on Tapology, the tail of the tape on this fight, we've got Jorgen de Castro at 5'11" with a 74-inch reach, and Greg Hardy 6'5" with an 80-inch reach. That should mean Hardy would tower over de Castro, but at the weigh-in yesterday when they did the stare down, didn't look like there was that much of a size difference, which is really shocking. So I did actually think, heavily lean towards Hardy earlier in the week, but that fight becomes a lot more difficult without the size advantage that I thought he would have, because the size advantage on paper would make it difficult for de Castro to get inside and land his short hooks, but the size difference at the weigh-ins, with both guys being roughly the same size, I mean, makes it much easier for de Castro to land. Some people are saying you're getting audio only. Let me know, boys, if you can see me okay, if everything's working good. Some people saying audio only. Let me know, man. Let me know. Let me know, boys. Oh, nice one for everyone hitting the like button, man. Nice one, Rocco. Nice one, Planet, mate. Nice one, dude. Hey, what's up, Zero Miedo? Good to see you, man. I responded to your message in the VIP chat earlier, man. Good to see you, Planet Dude. What's up, Robinson Canolis? Robinson Canolis, boys. Robinson Canolis is on the front lines in the motherfucking hospitals doing work, where we're all sat around playing video games, fucking chilling out on lockdown, man, eating pizza. Robinson Canolis is out there on the front lines working in a hospital, man. Robinson Canolis, you absolute legend, mate. Thank you very much, dude, for all your work. I really, really appreciate it, man. Shout out to Robinson on the front lines. What is up, Chris Savicki? Good to see you, mate. Hey, Jason Mitchell. What's up, man? Damon Blackburn is saying, best recommendation sites for live betting. I remember you said before, one does round by round and another will let you anytime. Let me know what country you live in, Damon, dude. What country you live in will depend on, like, the best site for live betting. Obviously, the best site in the world for live betting is Bet365, but you might not live in a country that they accept players from. The Blueprint saying Eddie Hall versus Hafter Thor. Do you know what, man? I don't really follow any strongman stuff or anything like that, so I don't know too much about those two boys. I see people talking about it online, but I don't know too much about them. William's not betting tonight, but he hopes Cruz and Biggie Boy come through. Me too, man. Me too. I definitely feel a little bit lucky tonight, though, boys. Like I say, Jacare probably would have lost tonight, right? Even if he's feeling fine, even if he's asymptomatic, even if coronavirus isn't making him feel sick, even if he's not feeling ill from coronavirus, his immune system fighting off that infection probably still would have affected his energy levels. So I definitely dodged a bullet on Jacare. I'm very, very glad that fight got pulled. What is out, Salivis, man? Good to see you, dude. Good to see you, man. Hey, Mikey B, what is up? Oh, Royd off the chat rooms, man. Royd's one of my moderators. Good to see you, Mikey B. What is up, dude? What is up? Alright, it looks alright. It looks okay, boys. It looks alright. Everyone's seeing me, right? Twitch is sketchy, apparently. Alright, sorry, boys. Very sorry. Looks like Twitch is a bit sketchy. Let me know if you're on Twitch, guys, and everything's working okay. Some people seem to have some problem with Twitch. It might be because I'm streaming in 4K. Maybe Twitch doesn't like the 4K stream. I'll roll it back to 1080p on when I do another stream. I can't do it mid-stream, but we'll get into it, man. Rocco saying some dudes out there max bet Cejudo. Well, all I would say about that is I don't know if there's a picture out there. All I would say is I'm not going to play the video because again the video will definitely get copyright striked. Have we got a picture? That doesn't really do it justice, right? All I will say is go check out the size difference, man. This size difference is serious, man. There are weight classes in MMA for a reason. Cejudo got a tough test on his hands. Let's just say that. People are max bet anything, right? People don't do their homework anyway, man. Hey, what's up, Apple man? Yeah, we're on Twitch and YouTube, dude. Twitch working good for Robinson. V-check, nice one, man. Mac Langley is asking about Watterson versus Esparza. You know what, dude? That's probably the only fight on the card I don't have a strong read on. It's really, really difficult because if you go to UFC stats, and I know stats are not that effective for MMA because fighters are constantly improving and they don't actually spend enough time competing to rack up meaningful stats. But if you look at Watterson's takedown defense, so her takedown defense is quite poor at only 57%. But then if you look at the takedown column here, and if you look at the opponents she's fought, she hasn't really fought many wrestlers in terms of, Joanna's a kickboxer, Kovalkiewicz kickboxer, Herrig is obviously a grappler, but she barely attempted to take that fight to the ground. It was a weird performance from Herrig. Casey's obviously a BJJ boxing base. Torres, Taekwondo base. Namajunas obviously can do it all, but not really a traditional wrestler. Van Zandt didn't have time to test Watterson's takedown offense because the fight ended in 3 minutes. Manana, no wrestling. Penne, BJJ practitioner. And I don't know anything about Tyra Parker. This fight was a very long time ago. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you look back through Watterson's record, she hasn't really fought any strong wrestlers in the UFC. So this takedown defense stat doesn't look good. But what I do see when I've gone back and watched Watterson's past fights is that she does get taken down a lot off trips or throws, which isn't really something that Esparza does very often. Esparza's tactics for getting the fight to the ground tend to be single legs, double legs. And we haven't really seen Watterson defend a great deal of those, so we don't really know what Watterson's takedown defense is like. What I would say, the interesting thing about this matchup is that Esparza's got very, very good offensive wrestling, but quite a weak top game. She's not very heavy from top position. Girls can quite often work their way back to their feet quite easily after Esparza takes them down. The only problem with that is Watterson's very, very weak off her back. She tends to spend a lot of time off on her back and doesn't really show much urgency to work her way back up to her feet. So I honestly don't have an opinion on this one, mate. It's a bit of a mess. Watterson is tricky on the ground as well. Slick submissions, very flexible. She could put Esparza in some bad positions. She's got a very slick back take, and Esparza does have a habit sometimes of giving up her back, even though Esparza's submission defense is superb. I don't think Esparza's ever been submitted. If we just have a quick look, once all the way back in 2010. She's only ever been submitted one time in over 20 pro fights. So how realistic is Michelle getting a submission? Probably not too likely, right? Right, boys, we need to get into these props, man. We've only got about an hour to get through this. So we need to run off and get ready for live betting. So I will try and get through as many comments as possible, boys. But I think what we'll do, we'll smash through these props, and then we will. After that, we'll come back and answer as many questions as we can. All right, boys. Let's go top to bottom then. Kick it off with Ryan Spann against Sam Alvey. Let's take a look. You know what? In terms of serious props, that's not a bad one. I know that Ryan Spann has a bunch of early finishes, but Alvey's still pretty tough, man. Alvey's difficult to take down, difficult to hold down. Guys tend to not get too aggressive with him because they respect his power. But over 1.5 rounds is actually a low-key serious bet at 1.7 when we like that. But in terms of props, we need to go for something crazy, right? So let's scan through them. Might have to pass on this first fight. There's not really too much that excites me here. Yeah, that's a pretty shit spread of props, boys. We'll skip that one. Not the best. All right, Mitchell versus Rosa should be a lot better. Let's take a look. Hey, what's up, Rocco, dude? What is that, mate? Nice words, man. Nice words, Rocco, mate. Nice one, Mac Langley, dude. What is up? Right, there's got to be a decent prop on this one. The kind of props that I like on fights like this. Stuff like this. Rosa to win by knockout or TKO at 15.6. Now, I know what you're thinking. Straight away. You're thinking that's very unlikely to happen. And it is. That's why the odds are the way they are. However, if we take a look at the records of both guys, you look back through Rosa's record, he's obviously a BJJ guy. He loves to be off his back. Doesn't really have any knockout power. But when I see odds like this, I feel like the bookies quite often are assessing Rosa's chances of winning by knockout or TKO in terms of knocking Mitchell outstanding. They're not necessarily considering the possibility of Rosa trapping Mitchell in a bad position on the ground when Mitchell gets tired and stopping him with ground and pound, which would still be considered a TKO win. So when I see odds like this between two grapplers, it does get very interesting to me. I mean, we know Rosa does definitely favour submissions, but if you can't get a submission, right? I mean, you look there. I don't know anything about Keith Richardson, but you look there. If you can't get a win by submission, if your opponent's not giving the submission to you, but they're gassed out their mind, you know, if Mitchell's really tired, like, you know, he's got very, very tired in the past against Tyler Diamond and Moffitt. You know, a ground and pound stoppage could be there for him. So when you look at odds like that, it's very unlikely Rosa just knocks him clean out. But a ground and pound stoppage is possible. And if we have a look at the odds on this, 15.6 plus 1,460 for an implied probability of 6%. I mean, this is capped at only occurring 6% of the time, which is quite crazy when you think about it. I mean, you know, Bryce Mitchell could get flash KO'd. He could get stopped with ground and pound on the ground. Maybe Mitchell throws a punch, breaks his hand, and the fight has to be stopped. That would be a TKO. Maybe Rosa catches him with like a funky kick or an elbow or something which cuts him really bad. The fight gets stopped. That would be a TKO. So when you see odds like this, these are the kind of props I'm talking about, where there's definite value there because the implied probabilities are just so low. If you just hit bets like this, you're going to make a profit over the long term. There's no doubt about it. So I do actually like this one, boys. It's going to be our first prop. We are going to go for Charles Rosa. And we're not going to do a prop on that fight. The props are pretty dead on that matchup. But I do actually like Charles Rosa. And it was, what was it, boys? 15.60, which was 1 point plus 1,460. And for the psychos, they like to use fractional. That's 73 to 5. So that is the first prop we got locked in, boys. And I know it's very unlikely to hit, right? That's the whole point of props. But you go for high risk, high reward bets. That if it does hit, I mean, you know, if it does hit, you make a profit. If you lose every other bet, right? It can definitely happen. So we like Rosa to win by knockout or TKO. Those are the kind of props where I see extreme value, because I feel like the bookies are capping it based on Rosa's chance of winning by knockout, not necessarily all the other things that could result in this bet winning. Like we said, doctor stoppages, injuries, it even covers disqualification. It should be TKO, KO, or DQ. You know, there's lots of ways that bet can hit, and with only an implied probability of 6%, those odds are an absolute steal. Absolute steal. All right then, boys. What do we have next? Luque versus Price. What are we going to do on this one? You will get some fights where the odds are completely sewn up and we'll have to pass. We are looking for something crazy, something that jumps out straight away as having value. So Price wins by knockout or TKO at 4.30. Let's take a look at that. That's pretty much his only way to win, right? 4.30. And I just use 5 dimes for the consistency. I don't shop around for the best odds right now. I just take 5 dimes. 5 dimes have the biggest range for prop bets, and then we stick with those. I also don't bother looking at these props, boys, just because only a small number of betting sites offer them. So it's not really... like these handicap bet stuff, it's not really fair to include them because not everyone will be able to get on them. What are we saying about this fight? Bring their records up. So I think if this fight goes into the second round, it's a lot less likely that Price wins the fight by knockout. He does tend to slow down a little bit as the fight goes on. I'm not saying he's got bad cardio, but he's definitely a lot less dangerous in the second and third than he is in the first. And we know Luque is just a cardio machine, man. It's unlikely he's going to get tired. What's up, guys? I want to answer your questions really bad, but we got to get through these props, boys, and I'll go back through them. I'll try and get through as many as we can. What have we got here? I'm thinking through this fight. Luque by submission with only carrying implied probability of about 25%, right? 22. 20 it's going to carry, what was it, 4.60, 20%. We know Luque likes to stand and bang, right? He did submit Price before, but lightning really strikes twice, and these two boys are going to want to stand and bang most probably. Nothing's really jumping out at me, boys. The reason why I don't like Price to win by knockout or TKO at these odds is just because he barely landed a punch in their first fight. Like, Luque wasn't in any danger at all. Odds are pretty much sewn up on this fight, I think. You know, the odds on Luque to win by knockout or TKO are very, very poor. Yeah, I would pass on that one, boys. There's just nothing, no point in throwing good money away. There's just nothing there that's that interesting to me. Alright, we now go on to the next fight. Watterson against Esparza. Now, I did say I didn't really have a strong opinion on who would win this, but that doesn't mean I don't have strong opinions on the possible ways that both girls could win. So I think the most likely outcome, probably this fight goes the distance, right? Esparza to win by decisions, very poor. It's not even plus money. I hate to bet props in that kind of odds range. What about Watterson decision, 2.85? That doesn't excite me at all. I don't see the point in betting Watterson by decision at 2.85, which is plus 185, when you can just bet a straight at 2.35 plus 135, because you introduce such a massive amount of risk when you bet on a specific outcome, like a fighter to win by decision. There's barely any difference between the odds on Watterson's money line and Watterson's prop to win by decision. So that's just pointless to me. That is absolutely pointless. I do think there is a chance Watterson submits Esparza. She is very slick on the ground. Esparza's got amazing submission defense. She really does. But Watterson is tricky. We did see her take the back of Jacek twice, right, in her last fight. Put Jacek in a couple bad positions. But Watterson, not exactly a prolific submission grappler, right? Hasn't submitted anyone since Paige Van Zandt back in 2016. I mean, the odds are up there. The odds are up there, but it's not that exciting for me. And I know I was talking all that noise about Rosa to win by knockout or TKO in this odds range, but I don't like Watterson so much in this odds range because Watterson is not really dangerous at all standing. I mean, if you look at her record, when was the last time she knocked someone out? 2014, right? And we know Carla Esparza's tough as nails. So I don't like that one so much either. Hate to pass on another one, but the props are not that good on this event so far, really. Rosa's the only one I'm liking so far. Yeah, I'm not really liking, not liking too much. Not really liking too much there. What about Olynyk versus Werdum? Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look. All right. Olynyk wins by knockout or TKO. That one is interesting to me because I don't know if you guys have been watching the weigh-in yesterday or the interviews this week, but is it me or is Fabrizio Werdum starting to look like Father Time's catching up to him? Yesterday I watched Fabrizio Werdum against Alexander Volkov, which was the last time we saw him. That was 2 years ago. Back at UFC Fight Night 127. Since then, Fabrizio Werdum's been on a 2-year layoff. He's coming back from a USADA suspension where he was kind of proven he was using performance-enhancing drugs. So if Werdum has built a career on using performance-enhancing drugs and he's not able to take them anymore, at 42 years old, it's very, very likely that Werdum will look an absolute shadow of himself. And with Werdum coming back from a 2-year layoff, being 42 years old, potentially building a career off PEDs, this is a terrible stylistic matchup for him, but he is starting to look old this week, and Olynyk looked in the best shape of his career. I don't know what Olynyk has been doing to prepare for this fight, but he looked absolutely fantastic. So it is stuff like that does get me interested. I know Olynyk loves his submissions, but the thing is, even if Fabrizio Werdum was incredibly tired, it would be super unlikely that he would be able to submit Fabrizio Werdum. Now, this is what this is what does bother me a little bit. So if you have a look at all of Olynyk's finishes, it is by submission, which is not good really, because even a very, very tired Fabrizio Werdum is going to be very stubborn and difficult to submit. I mean, there's light years between these two guys on the ground. From a stylistic point of view, this is the worst matchup imaginable for Olynyk. It is a terrible, 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 terrible matchup. But we know Father Time can creep up on fighters very quickly at this stage in their career. And there's a lot of things working against Werdum coming in this matchup with the layoff, his age, the USADA suspension. Olynyk inside the distance, 4.80. What is he straight? 3.65. So there's not a big difference there in the odds. Should we have a look at what the implied probability is? 21%. Not good. Not good. Philosopher asking what's happening with soccer live betting. We ain't got no more soccer, man. We ain't got no soccer. But, boys, if you are watching this on YouTube, I can see a lot more people watching this on YouTube now than on Twitch. I highly, highly, highly recommend going over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Diary of a Pro Gambler. So I'm going to be starting to live bet a lot of football, man. Bundesliga is back next week. We are going to be live betting other sports on Twitch. I can't do it on YouTube. The YouTube copyright algorithm is just way too aggressive to the point where even if there's like a little bit of sound or something coming from my other monitor when I'm watching the football, I can get copyright flagged. So it's way too dangerous to do those live streams on YouTube. But if you want to jump in on my live streams when I start live betting other sports, we made good money on that Australian football match just before the lockdown. Get involved, boys. Twitch.tv/Diary of a Pro Gambler. Get on it. Back to this now. Back to this. What are we going to go for, boys? I'm guessing Werdum to win inside the distance is very bad odds. Yeah, 1.65 dreadful. These are. Sometimes you get events, man, where the prop bets are just super shit, and that is kind of how I'm feeling in this one. One bet I would be interested in. Actually, I do like that. I do like that bet, actually. Fight ends in round 2. This is an interesting one. It's 4.33, though. Should we take a look at the implied probability on that? Let's take a look. 25%. My logic for going for fight ends in round 2 is that I was saying earlier on, in Verdum's last fight against Alexander Volkov, he did really start to slow down towards the end of the first round. Now, the question is, are either of these guys going to be able to survive the first round against one another, right? Because Alexei Olynyk comes out very, very hard and pushes a crazy pace, which is why you can see so many first round finishes. But my logic behind betting the fight to end in round 2 is, with both guys potentially having questionable cardio at this stage in their career because they're both 42 years old, it's very, very likely they're going to slow down. And if the fight gets into the second round, it's very, very likely it ends in round 2 because neither guy will have the cardio to go past the second round and someone's going to find a way to finish. So I will actually go for that prop bet. I quite like that prop bet, actually. I do actually quite like it. We'll go for that. So no prop on this. No prop on this. Yeah, the props aren't great though on this event, but we will go for fight ends in round 2. And like I say, my logic being crazy first round, neither guy gets a finish. It goes into the second, and both guys are too exhausted. Someone ends up finding a way to win. So we'll go for that, boys. Fight ends in round 2. I do like that. Actually. You can see Werdum, a little bit patient, likes to take the fight deep, go into decisions. Olynyk comes out the gate at 1,000 miles an hour, very, very aggressive. I think if this fight goes into the second round, both of them are probably going to be pretty tired, and that will make it easier to get a finish. So what were the odds? 4.33. 333 for an implied, 333 to 100 for all the crazy people that like fractional odds. So yeah, I'm not liking prop bets on this fight so far, boys. The bookies seem to have the props sewn up on this one, but I do quite like that. 4.33 is an implied probability of 23%. I think there's a pretty good chance this fight ends in round 2, especially with how bad bad their cardio is, how bad Werdum's cardio is looking like, you know, towards the end of that first round against Volkov. Right then, boys, let's take a look. Anthony Pettis against Donald Cerrone. Now, there's so many different ways this fight could go that I am optimistic that we'll be able to find a decent prop bet on this one. Pettis wins by knockout. Terrible odds, really. Terrible odds. Cerrone wins by knockout. Not great either. I do really think Cerrone's going to struggle to land on Pettis because Pettis isn't going to want to engage. He's going to be circling on the outside. Cerrone wins by submission. Again, it is one of those things where I do think there's a chance Cerrone does submit Pettis because of how weak Pettis has looked on the ground recently. But also, the problem with this is an implied probability of, you know, 12% is not great because Donald's probably equally likely to try and finish him with ground and pound if he does trap him in a bad position on the ground. I don't think Pettis by submission is realistic. Cerrone wins inside the distance at 3.35. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad. That's pretty good because that then covers the knockout and the submission. And I think, you know, if you look at Cerrone when he's been at his best, it has been when he's fought at welterweight. You know, Pettis does have a tendency to quit. If we look at his record, quit against Ferreira, quit against Ferguson, quit against Poirier, quit against Holloway. Although he did take quite a bit of damage against Stephen Thompson and hang in there. So I like 3.35 just because I think, it's gone up to 3.60. I do like Cerrone to win inside the distance just because I think, you know, Cerrone's great. But obviously, it's always 50-50 as to whether he's going to show up or not because he suffers bad with performance anxiety. If ever he's going to show up and perform to his full potential, it is going to be at a time where there's no crowd. And it's basically going to be like a sparring match in an empty room. You know, that's kind of like my logic. I do think it's quite likely Cerrone shows up tonight and looks back to his best. And of course, Cerrone's looked pretty fucking good at welterweight. I mean, the last time we saw him at welterweight was against Mike Perry. Looked pretty good. And he also went the distance with Leon Edwards at welterweight, right? I know it's 2 years down the line. He's now old as hell. He's taken loads of damage. He's looking old, but it's probably the best prop, right? Probably the best prop. Probably the best prop, 3.60, I would say. Because the most likely outcome, you know, you think this fight is quite likely to go to decision. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I'm kind of in two minds. There are two props I like here. Pettis to win by decision is also tempting. Because with his footwork, I feel Cerrone's really going to struggle to land. Cerrone's one of these guys that like fights in bursts. And he also starts really slow. And if you don't stand right in front of him, Cerrone does struggle to land. Kind of gets frustrated. Yeah, we'll go Pettis by decision, actually. Slightly better risk to reward ratio. We'll go for that. The rationale behind that is we know that Cowboy does start very, very slow. Even when he's at his best, he's always been a slow starter. So the logic behind this is you'd have to anticipate Pettis would stand a pretty good chance of winning round one with how slow Cerrone starts. Then he's only got to win the second or third to take a decision. Cerrone is incredibly tough. I don't think that Pettis is going to be able to... I don't think the Pettis is going to be able to finish Cerrone. If you look at Cerrone's record... he is a tough motherfucker. Gaethje's really the only guy to ever truly knock him out. Pretty much everyone else has stopped him, has done it with volume or body shots. It was like this was an accumulation of strikes. That was kind of an accumulation of strikes. So was this. This was a flash body kick. This was a flash body kick. And if we go back... Yeah, so no one's actually death-shotted Cerrone. I'd be really surprised if Pettis just knocked him out. But I could definitely see Cerrone starting slow, getting frustrated, and struggling to land on Pettis because Pettis probably won't want to stand in front of him. He probably will circle on the outside, try and pick Cerrone off as he comes forward. So I do actually like that. The odds on that are quite generous. I do like Pettis to win by decision. Quite cheeky. I do like that. I think that's a little bit off. The odds on that are quite decent, because if Pettis does win, you would anticipate that it is by decision. I can't imagine Pettis finishing Cerrone. It would be unlikely. But even at this stage in his career, with how easy Cerrone is to hit, with how slow he is, with how much damage he's taken, he can still take a shot. All right, boys. Let's get into the next one now. Let's take a look. Next one, Hardy versus the Castro. All right, what are we going to go for? Hardy by decision is the one I like. What are the odds? I do like Hardy by decision, just because I think Hardy can use the same strategy used against Ben Cejudo, to just use his size, even though it didn't look as big as we thought it was in the weigh-ins. But he should really just be able to stay disciplined, circle away from De Castro, pick him off from the outside. Like we said in the breakdown video, De Castro strikes a super short. He throws short hooks. Leg kicks from quite close to his opponent. I think he's probably going to struggle to get inside on Hardy. Hardy showed he can fight long. Showed really good footwork, man. Oh, thanks a lot, Chubby, dude. Thanks a lot, Chubby, mate. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, dude. Thank you, dude. So Hardy by decision is the first one that jumped out at me. Castro by knockout at TKO at 4.10. To me, it's not... To me, I mean, I would just bet to Castro straight rather than taking that. Hardy wins by submission, no. De Castro inside the distance, no. Yeah, I think Hardy by decision. I do like that. Hardy by decision. We will take that. And the reason why I like that is simply because Hardy kind of showed against Ben Cejudo that he's got a perfect game plan and style already built to beat a guy like De Castro, stay on the outside, pick off a short, compact fighter, doesn't fight very long, throw short hooks. I think Hardy can stay out of trouble, circle away from De Castro, pick him off from the outside, and win a decision there. We like that. We like that. We'll go for that, boys. Alright, so we do have 4 props now. I don't love these props, I gotta be honest. This one I like a lot. I think the odds on this are slightly outrageous. I don't love these ones so much, but they are these bets are just for fun, right? To make watching the fights more interesting. Speaking of interesting fights, this one should be a corker. So Calvin Kattar against Jeremy Stephens. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got. I do like Kattar by knockout or TKO, just because Kattar likes to go to the body a lot, and Stephens has shown he's quite susceptible to body shots. And with Stephens missing weight, I mean, it would indicate, for Stephens, man, is a proper professional, so for him to miss weight by 5 pounds would indicate that there's something serious going on with Stephens' fight camp. There's something not right there. Maybe he's injured or something. So Kattar to win by knockout or TKO at 3.50. That is a big difference from his moneyline odds. You know, if you look at Stephens, we look at his record. If we just bring it up here, if we look at Stephens, he got hurt very, very bad from a body shot against Rodriguez. Stopped with a body shot from Aldo. He was hurt very, very bad and almost finished by Josh Emmett. So if you take this fight out of the equation, because obviously it ended very quickly, Stephens has almost been finished with strikes in 3 of his last 4 against Rodriguez, Aldo, and Emmett. And to be fair, I think Kattar's more dangerous than Rodrigo, Emmett, and Aldo. I think Kattar's the real deal, so I do like that. Kattar to win by knockout at TKO at 3.50, especially with Stevens possibly not in the best shape, especially with Stevens being susceptible to body shots. So we will go that. We'll go for that. And Pinion is just saying that's 4.50 on William Hill for a lot more value, man. Much better odds. There we go. There we go, boys. We'll update that. All right. What should we go for next? Right, Francis Ngannou against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I am actually looking at the decision odds on this fight. Everyone is expecting this to be a crazy, like, just a crazy violent matchup, which where someone gets knocked out. I don't actually see it being like that. Or actually, that's not the correct thing to say. I could definitely see someone getting knocked out in this fight, but I also think there's a very, very good chance that just like the Ngannou Derek Lewis fight, I think there's a really good chance that Ngannou and Rozenstruik will respect each other's power, not overcommit the shots, pick their shots, and it could end up being like a really cagey, close fight that ends up going the distance, just like this. You know, Rozenstruik has shown he's very, very good defensively. With Ngannou's size difference, it's not going to be easy for Rozenstruik to get inside on him. So I think with everyone expecting a knockout on this fight, there is actually a good chance this one could go the distance. When you get two crazy power punches that will both respect each other's power, they will both be afraid to open up for fear of eating a big counter. So I actually do like the decision odds on this. Now, I have bet Rozenstruik on this fight, and it is a high-risk bet, right? A very high-risk bet. I actually think Ngannou will win, but I think the value lies with Rozenstruik, right? At his current odds, you know, in a fight between two guys that are very dangerous, very skilled, could both end each other's night in a second with a clean, hard shot that lands. There's a lot of value on Rozenstruik, but I actually think the prop to go for on this one is Ngannou to win by decision at 11.60. That is outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous, because if both guys really respect each other's power, it ends up being a close, awkward, tight split decision for someone. Ngannou by decision at 11.60 is outrageous. So I know I've bet Rozenstruik, guys, but remember, it's all about putting your money in strong positions, and the odds on that are way, 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 way off. So you will see it, boys. I know a lot of people are going to be expecting, you know, a crazy slugfest, a crazy KO. But when you have two guys that are that dangerous, they'll both know that their opponent's dangerous. They'll respect the power, probably fight a little bit safer. And that's exactly what we saw with Ngannou and Derek Lewis a few years ago. So we've already seen it can happen. So at these odds, you are getting an absolutely amazing deal on that. Those odds are way off. George Brown is saying, where are you getting them odds? If you just go to bestfightodds.com, mate, I just basically use 5 dimes for all the odds for props. Problem with props is the odds will differ so dramatically from different betting sites that these type of live streams would just get crazy complicated. If I was trying to shop around for the best odds, find average odds and stuff, I just use 5 dimes to keep it simple, man, and then you guys can go shop around between all the different sites you've got. Alright, boys, we now get into the co-main event. Dominic Cruz against Henry Cejudo. Let's try and find a decent prop for this. What have we got? What do we have? So, yeah, 100%. Amazing prop. Straight away, Cruz will win by knockout at TKO. 100%. If you go and watch Dominic Cruz... Sorry, if you go back and watch, let me just type this up. Dominic Cruz to win by KO or TKO at odds of 16.50. And I know what you're thinking. Dominic Cruz has got pillow fists. He's a decisionator. He struggles from having broken hands in fights. All this kind of stuff. I hear you, boys. I definitely hear you. If you look at Cruz's record. He's an absolute decisionator, right? I completely get where you're coming from. But by the same logic as betting Charles Rosa to win by knockout or TKO, he doesn't necessarily just have to knock Henry out clean. It could be a stoppage from a cut. It could be a disqualification win. Maybe Henry Cejudo throws a leg kick and breaks his ankle or something. The fight has to be stopped. And when you look at these odds at 16.50, that's only an implied probability of 6%. While I will also say, from a stylistic point of view, Henry Cejudo is very undersized for the division, which means Dominic Cruz's power will probably count for quite a bit more. Cejudo's very, very small. What I would also say on top of that is Cejudo's got really bad striking defense. He doesn't really see the shots coming because he's still pretty inexperienced to striking. So Cruz is going to be able to set him up for some big power shots. So I actually love Cruz at the win by knockout at TKO at 16.5. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. All right, boys. Let's take a look at the main event now, and we will try and find a prop for this. So, what should we go for? See, I was hoping for Ferguson to win in round 3, but at 6.75, it doesn't get me too excited. I think I'd actually prefer Ferguson to win in round 2 at 5.75. What's Gaethje by knockout? 3.15. That's terrible. That's not what I need to see, man. What is Gaethje in round 1? 5.75. Nah, I don't like it so much, man. I don't like it so much. Let's just take a look. Ferguson does like his second round finishes, doesn't he? Abel Trujillo, Edson Barboza, Lando Venata, Anthony Pettis and Donald Cerrone all stopped in the second round. That's quite significant because Justin Gaethje tends to slow down a lot about the 6th or 7th minute mark, and he is taking this fight on short notice. It's either round 2 or round 3 for Ferguson. With it being short notice, you'd have to anticipate Gaethje would slow down a little bit faster than usual. So he slowed down in round 3 against Poirier, slowed down in round 3 against Alvarez. Ferguson fights at a crazy pace. It's like borderline round 2, round 3. The short notice makes me think it's going to be I think it's going to be a little bit earlier on in the fight when Gaethje possibly starts to slow down. He's already spoken about not having the best camp. Round 2 or 3. What do I go for, boys? What do I go for? Help me out in the live stream, boys. What do you think is a better bet? Would you go for Ferguson in round 2 or Ferguson in round 3? Let me know, boys, what you think is the better bet. What would you go for? And boys, don't forget, hit that like button as well if you haven't already, boys. That would mean a lot to me. Thanks a lot, boys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. What would you do, guys? What would you prefer? AP wants Gaethje in round 1. Plus 700 is nice, right? That is tempting, plus 700. But the odds, I am just trying to be consistent. I am trying to use 5 dimes for all these props. And on 5 dimes, Gaethje in round 1's 5.75, which I don't like as much. I'd see, so R1111A is saying Ferg in round 4. I think that's a little bit late. Everyone's saying round 3 pretty much. Alright, boys, we'll do that. We'll go round 3, boys. We'll go round 3. That was like my initial instinct, but I just didn't love the odds as much. We'll go for that. 6.75. We'll go for that, boys. So now we gotta find some parlays. So those are the prop bets. I will leave them up in the background for you guys to take a look at. Oh, I haven't put the... oh, God. Haven't put the money line odds in. What would that be? Plus, is it 575? What was it? 6.75. Is it 6.75? Or have I got that wrong? Yeah, 6.75 plus 575. And infractions 23 to 4. Alright, sorted, boys. Sorted. Alright, so these are the props, man. I don't love them. Man. Like, I don't think the props are the best on this event. There were a few fights where the odds were kind of tight. So I don't love these. I don't love a lot of these props. I'll tell you my favourite ones. My favourite props. I love Dominic Cruz to win by knockout at TKO. I think it's 16.5 with the size difference. With how bad Henry Cejudo's striking defense is, I think that's outrageous. I think Ngannou to win by decision at 11.60 is a great bet. I love that. Especially when we've seen Ngannou kind of fight to a close, cagey, tentative decision before with Derek Lewis. I think these guys could really respect each other's power, man, and that one could end up being a bit of a snooze fest. And also, I love this one, Charles Rosa to win by knockout at TKO, just because Mitchell's gas tank is a little bit suspect, and I think if Rosa traps him in some bad positions on the ground, he might be able to get a finish with ground and pound. So I do like that one, boys. I do like it. All right, boys. Let's get into this one then. Let's get into it. Let's get these prop bets, these parlays rolling. Let's get it rolling. All right. So the first one that we want to do, we'll need Photoshop for this as well. So we kind of want 3 parlays. They're all high risk parlays, boys. These parlays are probably going to lose, but we want 3 different categories of parlays. We want a risky one, a very risky one, an extremely risky one. And obviously, with every additional parlay, the odds will start to go up to the point where the payoff on the lottery ticket parlay, we want it to be absolutely outrageous. So the long shot parlay, we're probably going for like between 5 and 6 legs. Hail Mary parlay, probably like 7, 8 legs. And then lottery ticket parlay, close to parlaying a fighter from every fight on the card to try and to get it, man. Let's take a look, boys. All right, so we're going to go for... So, to build a foundation, we'll pick the fighters most likely to win. So, I would say that falls with... I would go for... God, it is actually hard to pick some really... There aren't... Boys, newsflash, there aren't any safe bets on this card. I'm literally looking at it thinking, shit. Like, there's barely any safe bets. Alright, Luque's probably the safest. We've already seen him dominate Price, and Price barely landed a punch 2 years ago. Luque's probably the safest bet. Spann, pretty safe. God, this is fucking tough, man. This is tough. Alright, Kattar. Oh, the odds are terrible. It's already 3 legs and the odds are terrible. This is a tough event for parlays, boys. This might be the most trouble I've ever had. We will go... And remember, boys, I'm not shopping around with the odds just to keep this live stream simple. I am only taking them from 5 dimes, right? Otherwise, it just gets crazy complicated. Hardy. And then we want an underdog to juice this shit up. Let's go for Mr. Cruz. And that takes the payoff to 10 point... Actually, no. Because if he does show up looking a shadow of himself after the layoff, that is going to kill that parlay. Let's go Tony. Luque, Spann, Kattar, Hardy, Ferguson. That'll be the first one, boys. Very, very unlikely to hit. But that's what we'll go for. Relatively safe one, right? Not safe. That's a stupid thing to say. It's not a safe bet, but it's going to be the safest out of all the ones we do. So we will pop that there. That is the parlay, boys. There it is. Bam. Bam. All right. And we will just go to desktop. That is parlay 1. There it is, boys. Parlay number 1. And what I will do, when I'm answering your questions in just a little bit, although we are running out of time, when I answer your questions, I will leave them up on the screen so you guys can get on them. Image. Dun, 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 dun. Where are we going? There we go. Parlay 1. If we click update, just want to make sure it looks okay. So that's the long shot parlay. So, fuck's sake. Nightmare. Sorry, 2 secs, guys. Let me just fix this problem. Alright, it should show up now. That is the parlay, boys. I think they're the safest bets on the card, I would say. I'd be surprised if any of those guys lost. They've got pretty good stylistic matchups. Alright, now we want to go for the same foundation. We want to add a little bit more risk to it. So we will add Mr. Cruz to take that up to 15.2. And we will also go for... Who else are we going to go for? I want to stay clear of this fight because I really don't have a strong read on it. We will go for... Boom. We will go for that. Rosa and Cruz to make that extra spicy. Extra spicy. You want some jalapenos with that? That is a lot spicier. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7 legs. And it pretty much quadruples the payoff. So we like that. Very, very, very risky. Very risky. But I do think there is a decent chance. There's always a decent chance. Very risky. Look, chuck $1 on it, man. Might win $40. Who knows? Very risky. Probably going to lose. But all 7 of these guys have got a pretty good chance of winning. I will say that. I will say that. All right. Probably going to lose, though, boys. Don't expect to be winning parlays, man. They're very, very risky. Just to make watching the fights more fun, right? Now, for the third one, for the YOLO parlay, the lottery ticket parlay, we need to juice this baby up even more. So we'll throw a Mr. Rozenstruik in. Oh, Jesus. Trebling the payout to 134.0. What else will we go for? We might not need anything else. Do we get greedy and chuck Cerrone in? Woo! If we chuck Cerrone in, it doubles the payout. That's more my cup of tea. How many legs is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, boys, we're going to do that. Lottery ticket parlay, $300. We will get greedy. We will. If you bet $1 on this, $134. Not that exciting. Bam! We add Cerrone into the mix. All of a sudden, you can buy an Xbox. Print screen. Print screen, we will take that, boys. Very risky, probably going to lose. It's probably going to lose 999 times out of 1,000 this will lose. But people always forget, man, gambling is also a form of entertainment, right? People like to have fun. We take gambling so seriously from Monday to Friday. And these live streams are our opportunity just to have a little bit of fun, man. Throw some fun bets out there. Have a little bit of fun. And come up with some bets in a more relaxed environment just to throw a few dollars around and make watching the fights a little bit more interesting. That is the point of these live streams, and I hope you get that. I hope you get that these aren't like a serious source of information or a serious set of bets, right? I'm not expecting to make a profit from any of these bets. So just to spice things up, make the fights more interesting. People take gambling very, very seriously on YouTube, but it is important to remember gambling is a form of entertainment. They've built entire cities on it, right? Macau, Las Vegas, Atlantic City. Gambling is also a form of entertainment. So this live stream is the one piece of content I put out every week where I don't take myself too seriously, and I like to have a little bit of fun. Remember, there are a lot of people out there that gamble for fun. Yeah, not everyone's trying to be, fucking dead serious on this gambling thing. All right, boys. All right. We'll chuck that in there. And I'll leave the bets up in the background. I've got about 15 minutes before I'm going to have to go off and get set up for live betting. So I'll plow through as many of your questions as possible. And I will leave these these parlays up. I will switch between that and that. Oh, actually, what I might be able to do is if I do that, and I can pop that by there, and then I can pop that by there, and I can maybe get both up at the same time. Why isn't it doing that? Yeah, there we go. So there are the parlays. And there are the prop bets, boys. There you go. All right, I'm just going to whiz back up through the comments and try and answer as many comments as I can, man. Thank you to everyone that's watching as well. Big thank you to everyone that hit the like button as well, man. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to zip back through about 10 minutes and try and answer as many of your questions as possible, man. Let's take a look. Marek Tavaruzek is saying, if Alvey wins, all tickets go in the toilet. Yes, mate. Pretty much, dude. Pretty much, mate. Everything. I think if Alvey wins tonight, he will literally kill every single parlay in the world. I think, mate. People saying I'm working for the bookies. You never know, boys. Never ever believe what you see on the internet, right? Maybe you know. I will know the YouTube channel is really taking off when I see someone make a conspiracy about me, saying I'm a plant for betting sites and stuff. I wish the betting sites would pay me, boys. How about that? Then I wouldn't have to fucking go through all the stress of always getting betting accounts closed down. Maybe that would make my life a little bit easier, right? But for now, unfortunately, no, I am not working for betting sites. Those motherfuckers can't pay me enough. How about that? LSU Tigers saying, paying for bets is really stupid, so you should know better. See, I have a problem with this as well. Is paying for bets stupid when for $20 a month you can get access to, we scroll down the bottom here, for every single event you can get access to about 20 hours worth of content where we dig very deep into every single aspect of every fight. So there's a 2-hour video on Gaethje versus Ferguson, 2-hour video on that fight, 2-hour video on that fight, 3 hours on this one, 2 hours on this one, 3 hours on that, 3.5 hours on that, 3.5 hours on that, 2.5 on that, an hour on that, 4 hours on that, 4.5 hours on that. So that seems like a pretty good deal for me, because I know slavery is illegal, but for just $20 a month, you basically get access to almost 100 hours of content every single month. That can be the difference between you placing a bad bet or placing a good bet, right? You may think I suck. I don't really care what you think. But I do know that for $20 a month, you do get a great deal when you join my website because of the incredibly massive amount of content I put out every week. I think it would be foolish to consider $20 as being stupid when you're basically paying me to work full time for you for absolute peanuts. So yeah, I would respectfully disagree with the LSU Tigers. Everyone's talking about Spann versus Alvey, man. My God. I will say this, boys. Like, I understand why a lot of people might be thinking Alvey's got a good shot here. But something really something really big happened to Alvey a couple of years ago where he was training with Sean Strickland. They were sparring, and Strickland threw a head kick and broke Alvey's jaw. And since then, Alvey's just been so gun shy to the point where he just doesn't pull the trigger anymore. So Alvey's always been quite flat-footed, always quite slow. He's never really thrown that high of a volume of strikes, but he has been aggressive in countering and trying to take his opponent out. We all remember Alvey as having that devastating knockout power in his left hand, and I'm sure he still has that. But when fighters break their jaw, man, it takes something out of them, and they're quite often never the same again, to the point where psychologically it's difficult for them to open up, because a broken jaw is so devastating that psychologically they just can't overcome that. They can't open up because they are worried about it happening again. And also, you know the expression, Darren Till says it all the time, in order to knock someone out, you have to put yourself at risk of being knocked out. So Alvey's got that doubt in his mind now. So over the last 18 months or so, Alvey's really declined hard since coming back from that broken jaw, to the point where you see he's almost frustrated with himself, because he wants to let that left hand go. He wants to attack his opponents, but he just can't let that left hand go. And that's why I think it's very, very unlikely that Spann beats Alvey, because even though Spann is very, very reckless, even though Spann gets rocked, dropped, wobbled, knocked out in every fight, like you go watch a Spann fight, he gets dinged in every single fight. There's that expression in football, right? If you don't shoot, you don't score. And because Alvey throws such a low volume of strikes, the probability of him actually catching Spann is so unlikely, because he's not going to outstrike him. He's not going to outgrapple him. There's no way Alvey's winning a decision. In order to beat Spann, he's got to knock him out. And if we look at the stats on the fight, if we look at the stats, we look at Alvey. You look at the strikes landed per fight, 28, 3, 34, 53. Actually, these stats are crazy. These stats are wrong. They seem way higher. They seem way higher than they should be. Yeah, they seem way higher. What I would say, boys, in order to truly understand what I'm talking about with Sam Alvey, go back and just watch his recent fights from over the last couple of years, because he is super passive. Very, very, very passive. Like the stats on the Vellante fight indicate that this was quite a competitive, high-paced fight. Alvey did nothing for long periods of that fight. He only really opened up in the last 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds of each round to try and steal the round. Super passive. So if you don't shoot, you don't score. And Alvey doesn't really pull the trigger much. Now, I get the betting Spann is crazy at these odds, but that doesn't automatically mean that Alvey is a good bet either. It doesn't mean Alvey can win. It just makes it really unlikely. Joey McBride is saying, how do you feel about Rosa at plus 160? I think I like him, mate. I think I like him. Let's have a look what his current average odds are. Let's bring this a bit over here, man. Let's bring him a bit over here. Let's take a look. Rosa, his odds are improving up to, about an average of 2.60, man. 2.67 on 5 dimes. Let's take a look. 2.60. Plus 160 for an implied probability of 38%. I do like Rosa at these odds, man. I think the odds are... I think this is close to a 50-50 fight. I don't think Mitchell deserves to be this big of a favourite. It is a high-risk bet. It is a gamble. But I do think the odds are pretty off here. Look at the average available odds on Mitchell. Currently around about 1.55. Yeah, that's crazy to me. To get any value on Mitchell, you've got to be capping him at about 70%, and that's just stupid. There's no way you can cap him at those odds. No way. No way, Jose. Where have the bets gone? Here they are. Here they are, boys. All right. A is saying prelims, 99% an upset occurs. You believe me? Just look at all past matches. He won't acknowledge it, though. I just acknowledged it, dude. There you go. We just acknowledged it. Marek Tavurek saying Luque is huge risk. Parlays are huge risks, man. That's why these bets are high risk, high reward, you know. Marek, man, I'm sorry. I'm Marek. I know I'm messing your pronunciation up of your name, man. I'm really sorry, Marek, dude. I'm so sorry, man. I'm really sorry. Hey, Just Jay, what's going on, man? Hope you're okay, dude. Oh, nice one, underrated, man. I really appreciate it, dude. Nice one, dude. Raffaello is saying he's confident Kattar and Hardy are going to win. They're the safest bets. Yeah, man. They're good. They got very good stylistic matchups. I would agree with you, actually, dude. I think those two... Do you know what? Maybe substitute Hardy for Ferguson, only because the Castro does hit mega hard, but then there are clues that the Castro's gas tank's really bad. So it's difficult to say, man. It is difficult to say. But I definitely agree with you, Kattar's probably the safest bet, because he does have an amazing chin. Stevens looks like he's coming in bad shape. Kattar's amazing. And historically, Stevens does struggle against Kattar's style, those really technical strikers. A lot of people saying they're going to be betting Rosa now. Visuals is saying, do you think Stevens missing weight changes anything for the fight? It's a really weird one, man, because like this might sound crazy because obviously Stevens didn't look good at the weigh-ins, but he did look a lot better than usual. If you go back and watch Jeremy Stevens' past weigh-ins, he literally looks like a skeleton. He looks terrible. But yesterday, even though his body language was quite negative, Stevens physically actually looked pretty good. He actually looked a lot better than he usually does. So I don't really know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing if he was... Sorry, it's a good thing for Stevens if he was having a bad weight cut and he realised he wasn't going to make the weight. So, a couple of hours before the deadline, he just stopped making weight. That would be very bad for Kattar and good for Stevens, because it means Stevens hasn't had as tough a weight cut as usual, and he'll come in much better shape, much better condition. And I think that could be the case, because like I say, Stevens didn't look bad physically. He looked a hell of a lot better at the weigh-ins than he usually does. On the other side, if he couldn't make weight because he was injured or he was sick or he's had a bad camp, something like that, then that's obviously going to work against Stevens. It'd be great for Kattar. Problem is, we don't know which way it goes, man. It's 50-50. So it's tough to say. It could go either way. Alright then, that is going to be it for this live stream, boys. I'm going to run off and get myself set up for live betting now. Hopefully we make a little bit of money on these parlays and these prop bets, although obviously they're super risky, man. Only go small on these. These should just be for fun to make watching the fights more interesting. But I love you, boys. Thank you for watching. I'm going to do my best to drop a video for that Wednesday night card as well. I really appreciate everyone that subscribed, left a comment, hit the like button. I've pretty much done with my research for the Wednesday night card, so I'm going to do my best to get a video out on YouTube for that. Hopefully on Monday, I will do my best. Can't promise anything. I will work really hard to make it happen, though. But nice one for watching, boys. I hope you crush it tonight, boys. I hope you absolutely smash it. I know I shouldn't be saying that because I do work for betting sites, but, I'll probably get into a little bit of trouble. I'll probably get a warning off my boss or something at Bet365. But I'm going to say it anyway, boys. I love you all. Take care. Hope you crush it. Have a great night, and I'll see you all very soon.